there, this is Trish Robichaud here at msrelief.com, here with Dawn Silverstein, my intrinsic nutritional coach. We're here on Choose Joy TV, our online TV show that we're producing here at MS Relief for your benefit. And today is I think it's our seventh or eighth episode. This is our 8th episode of Weight Loss for Wellness, which is my weight loss journey, and with Dawn's guidance and her camaraderie, and I love that. Welcome, Dawn. Good to see you again.
Go team Trish. Yeah. So, did you have a good week?
Yeah, it was a really good week. I actually lost like 4 pounds last Saturday when I stepped on the scale, which was really cool.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's always exciting. And just been eating healthy, craving healthy, which is really, really cool. I actually had a craving for brown rice this week.
Really?
Yeah, just had a craving for rice. And then, I had this box of brown rice in my cupboard, but it's been so long since I cooked anything at all that, well, I opened the box. Well, the box was already open, and I did have some mice in that cupboard, so I thought, no, there's no, well, I don't know about you guys, but here in Canada, living with mice sometimes is a reality.
Okay.
Little miceys in the house. Anyways, we dumped the rice, and I think I'm going to go buy some this weekend. And I bought some red, yellow, and orange peppers.
Nice.
And I thought I would do up the rice. I used to make like a rice pilaf sort of with sautéed onions,
right,
in a little bit of oil. And as long as I'm using like olive oil, I'm okay, right?
Absolutely. Actually, that's a healthy fat, and you need healthy fats in your diet. So olive oils, avocado, nuts, those are good sources of healthy fats.
So in terms of like sautéing some onions, like an
Absolutely.
olive oil is a good choice.
That's fine. Or canola oil is fine too. But olive oil is perfectly fine. You just don't want too much of it. That's all. Actually, olive oil, like if you're cooking down tomatoes, helps break down the lycopene, and then your body can absorb it better. So the Italians had that right. While they're cooking down their tomatoes, once it's broken down, your body will absorb the lycopene better. So it's a good method.
That because of the tomatoes you're talking about, or because of the olive oil?
Both. Once you cook the tomato, it releases the lycopene, and cooking it in olive oil and consuming it, the olive oil helps transfer the lycopene into your system faster.
I see. Okay.
So you'd be super healthy.
So I think I'm going to make up some brown rice.
So wait, let's just have a moment here revisiting the whole you're cooking. You're cooking.
I haven't got there yet. Okay? I'm not actually
but
cooking.
You're
I'm
thinking about cooking.
Yeah.
And why is that?
The brain going to cooking is a direct relationship to the brain going to healthy food that I'm craving, like wanting to consume.
Right.
When I was talking about the rice, I was thinking, I think more my brain was in the stir fry with the vegetables, because I had this image in my head of like some yellow, orange, and red pepper, not chipped, like not in small pieces, but in slices.
Right. So it's very appealing. Right. It's vibrant, it's clean, and it looks like it's going to taste good.
Yeah. Definitely.
How is food tasting to you these days?
You know what? I never thought about that.
Do you feel like you're tasting it more?
The other day, I pulled out of the freezer some pre-made meatballs. Then they were like lean Angus beef, and I thought, that sounds really good. I'll have a couple of meatballs, and I did. It was the first time in probably a couple of weeks since I've had meat.
Oh.
and it was tasty, but it wasn't as good as I remember it being. I seriously think that my taste buds are changing.
Well, the not smoking definitely plays a factor there. Because that deadens your senses.
But I totally hear you there, in that my taste buds will be improving since I quit smoking. And it's been
what else is going on about
there's more to it than that, yeah, because there's more to it than that, because the not having any interest in meat that's long predate the non-smoking, right?
Right.
Because I've been talking about that for several months already now. Anyways, I had some of the hamburger, but I didn't need much to feel like I've had enough.
Good.
And my focus was more on the wrap that I was building with the lettuce and the red and orange and yellow peppers that I had pulled out because the rice wasn't fit for consumption. And so that was, anyways. So that's good. I'm definitely evolving. And this week I actually was thinking seriously about going down to the health food store, which is in our next little town here.
Okay.
To look at some options, edible options that I might not have noticed in the past there when I was there. Now that my appetite is changing and my tastes are changing, I think they probably have some products there that I would find really
They definitely will.
Good and
as probably will your supermarket could as well. Are you looking for different types of grain options or proteins?
I definitely want to try some quinoa. I've been thinking about that for a long time, and quinoa has protein, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so I'm looking for ways to top up what I'm eating in terms of my protein consumption, my protein intake.
Okay.
Definitely.
Your quinoa is a good choice, and even you had talked about the tofu that you had tried. Then we talked about a different type of tofu that would you could cut into cubes and things like that. And that's something that you could toss into a quinoa salad and would really boost your protein.
So some tofu with the quinoa.
You could do that in vegetables.
Okay.
Just make up a salad.
And speaking of vegetables, last week you talked to me about the NutriBullet.
I did.
And I went online and I bought it. I don't have it yet, but I did order it. So I'm looking forward to it. And I did get it from the NutriBullet website, so it is going to come with that cookbook, which I really need. And I guess it's not really
a cookbook.
It's a recipe book, yeah.
It's more about assembling, which I prefer to say that I assemble meals than that I cook meals. I'm great at assembling. I'm very excited for you about the NutriBullet. I think I know for myself anyway, it's such a shot to your energy. And there are a number of things and probably recipes in that book because you had asked about like detoxing your system and things like that. There's definitely recipes that will clear the lungs, clear the liver.
Awesome.
They're just they're really very clear, and there's charts and so forth. So I think it's a great product.
Wonderful.
I really do. And then we can talk to you about maybe adding omega-3 to a juice. Krill oil is really good. It balances the brain chemistry, the dopamine, which is what smoking affects the dopamine. So people sometimes have a hard time not having that triggered anymore. But if your omega-3s are balanced, then the dopamine level should be fine.
Awesome.
Yeah, so there's little tricks and tweaks that we can work on. And so I have a few questions for you. One is I would like to hear about that shirt you have on. There's a story about the shirt.
Yeah, it's actually been in my closet for about 5 years. And I bought it at a thrift shop sometime back because I really like the color. I like the and the feel of it. It's kind of a sulky feel. And it was in there for a long time, and this is like one of the first times I've ever worn it, because it was always a little bit too tight across my shoulders. But as you can see now, the shoulders are way out here.
It's almost too big, yeah.
And this is,
wow.
Yeah, there is the, so it's, yeah.
So how does that
wear it
feel?
fast.
Yeah.
Wear it fast mode, because it's soon going to be on its way out.
You could always belt it with a jacket.
It feels good. It feels good to be wearing clothes that haven't either worn in years or haven't been able to wear at all.
Right.
That's feeling awesome. And it's made a really big difference for me in terms of my energy. I notice now, yesterday, for example, or the day before, I can't remember now, worked all day from like 11 a.m. my day starts until usually my last client finishes either 8 or 9 p.m. And so it was a really long day. And when I was done, I actually went out in the kitchen and made myself a salad, and I took the time to make something for my husband too. Oh my God. Hello. He's usually looking after himself, or even looking after me, right? And now I've had the energy, and I think 3 or 4 times the past week, when I got up in the morning, I started the day by cleaning the kitchen, like from the clutter from last night, right? I know that the average person would do that before they go to bed, but that doesn't happen in this house.
Not necessarily, yeah.
But anyways, yeah, so, and that's, just, yeah, it's really, really cool that I have this energy that I haven't had in a very long time, if at all.
That's great.
Then there's the abilities that are going with it, Want an update on the walking?
I do. That's my next question.
Okay. All right. Well, your most recent challenge to me was to go, I think, 3 houses or something like that. Now I'm walking like 5 or 6 houses this way and 10 or 12 houses that way. And the really cool right there is a park.
Oh,
so
perfect.
I'm able to stop and rest.
So you're walking all the way to the park?
Yeah, and back. Yeah, I'm walking all the way to the park. And this is just so cool. You got to hear this. I discovered in my local park,
yes,
there are wooded walking trails right off of my park in my neighborhood.
You did not know this.
I have been living here since 1997, so 15, 16 years.
You didn't know?
And I didn't know. I'm sure every teenager in town knows.
I'm sure they know.
Yeah. But, it's really cool. I am going to get my FlipVid out, and I am going to take some video for you guys.
That would be awesome.
To show you.
I would love to see it.
There is actually like this wooden bridge that like an arching wooden bridge that goes up and over this ravine that is a storm ravine that is all natural and reeds like cattails and stuff, and bullfrogs, and because there's water down in there, but it's not like a river down in there, but it's enough water so that there's a little ecosystem in there.
Oh, that's so exciting!
Really, really cool. So, and I didn't have a clue. That's so cool. So yeah, and I met somebody on my walk.
That's amazing.
Nice. Yeah.
So connect all the dots for me about how are you able to do that? What changes have you made that made that possible for you to get to the park?
Okay. In the past, I could not have walked that far without having significant MS. Well, you guys know. I get the neuropathic burning and radiating electrical up the back of my legs when I would walk. Okay, and it would start at my ankles and it would go all the way up to the back of my head. Right? And it would take hours before that would stop after I walked any distance. Well, with the weight loss, I'm not having any of that sensory problem happening. Wow. Which is really, really awesome, because I used to enjoy walking before the MS, and since the MS and that symptom kicked in, I have thought of walking as off limits.
Right. Sure. It created pain.
In my brain.
Right.
It just, yeah.
Something to be avoided.
It's off limits, exactly. Right. And I didn't even dawn on me when I was in that place of it being off limits. It didn't even dawn on me that the outcome of that pain might be completely different if I wasn't carrying this much weight around with me. It didn't even dawn on me that it might be different. Right. And so that is really cool, because that neuropathic thing is not happening. It is now happening a little bit in my hands just from holding on to the walker.
Yeah.
But the walker has, like, injecting the walker into the walking formula has completely empowered me, because I'm no longer scared. Like that apprehension that I had when I walked to the end of the driveway with my cane, and then when I walked 3 blocks or 3 houses up with my cane, and remember I told you my knee went out on me like 10 times
all
in
the
10
time,
minutes, right?
Yep.
With
there
the
was
walker,
a real concern,
The walker, it's no concern anymore whatsoever.
That's amazing.
I was a little self-conscious about it when I first few times I took it out.
Sure.
But you know what? Now it's not a symbol of disability in my head. Now it's a symbol of independence.
Awesome.
And empowerment. Yeah, because it's empowering me to get to the park. Hello.
It is. It's empowering you to get on an airplane.
Yes. Exactly.
That's the long-term goal, remember?
Yes,
that is going to get you on an airplane.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Great. So now, how does the food fit in? How is the choices you're making around food also contributing to that success?
Well, my addiction switch is still off.
Good.
No, I lied. Let me clarify that. I had a couple of days this past week where I had some depression going on. Nothing major, just I was uncomfortable with it. And I don't know if I shared this with you in a past session, Dawn, but I have in my journey have discovered, I've made a connection between when I am upset and I feel anxiety in my stomach, I tend to reach for food because by overeating, I am creating a different physical feeling in my stomach than the anxiety. I'm masking the anxiety. Okay, so I made that connection some time ago. There was one day this week where it was definitely in food addict mode all day. All day. Soon as I got up, I had to have something really heavy for breakfast, like instead of one sandwich, I have 2 toasted sandwiches, right?
Right, because it's about stuffing down your emotions. That's what we say. You're stuffing them down.
Yeah. And stuffing them down and masking them. And that's what that connection was vital for me, is the masking part. And I'm sure that I went through a drive-through or 2 that day. But even while I was doing it, it was a different experience than I'd had in my past life, because I was fully aware of why I was doing it.
Okay.
And so therefore, as I was doing it, I had the opportunity to actually analyze what it was doing to me, what benefit it was bringing me. And then when the food was gone, I was able to fully face the fact that whatever I was eating about is still there, you know?
Right.
Except now
so you're
I've had like 840 calories in 10 minutes flat, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, so I'm far more connected to my emotional...
Did the choices you made about that food, was that any different? Or were those old standby go-tos?
No, actually, there were some slightly different choices. For example, all right, I'm just going to say, I was at Wendy's, and my old standby is 2 junior bacon cheeseburgers. 2, not 1, but 2. The cheap ones, the one on the, the value menu, 2 of those fries, and probably a Frosty to go with it. But that day I had a junior one hamburger, and of course in the other life there would have been like the really large size fries.
Right.
And instead I ordered some nacho chips. And now I know that that's not a heck of a lot better.
It's different.
Ultimately, but it's different. Changed things up for me. I had some of the nacho chips with chili on it.
Okay.
So there was a little bit of protein there. Sure. That
we rationalize, yeah.
I know. Yeah, but anyways, but the really, really different piece, Dawn, is I didn't, because I was fully analyzing it, because I was saying, okay, I'm eating this because I'm upset, and you know what? And that's okay. Right. That's what I did. Right. I said to myself, you know what? I know why I'm eating this, and that's okay. And so, you know what? Because I had that attitude, I didn't have any guilt afterwards.
Okay.
Because usually the guilt keeps me in the mode for days.
Right. That's right.
So because I had no guilt afterwards, I looked at it, it was like an adult responsible decision that I made, you know?
Right.
I just chose to do this.
You chose. That's how you chose to deal with it in that moment.
So
right.
I binge, no, I should say, I didn't binge. Well, I guess I did, because it was more food than I really needed. But...
And it wasn't about physical hunger.
I knew, there was no doubt in my mind it wasn't about physical hunger.
That's binging.
I knew exactly what was going on. Right. Yeah, okay, gotcha. And it was totally compulsive. Like, there was no way I could drive past that Wendy's that day. It was just, it wasn't happening. It was like asking a heroin addict not to inject the drugs that are sitting in front of them, you know? It just wasn't happening.
Take that a step further. Did you make sure that you drove by Wendy's?
Did I make sure I drove by? No, I made sure I drove in.
I'm saying, could you have taken a different route for where you were going, or did you make sure that Wendy's was going to be on your route?
So
the decision was made before you got in the car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's where you were that day.
But then the very next day, I went back to my healthy place.
That's the most important
because I was able to let go of it. Exactly. Right. That has always been my downfall in the past. I've always had the ability to go weeks or months on end of doing, the making the healthy choices with my food and my activities. Right. But then something would emotionally throw me off.
Right.
And then it would take me months or weeks or sometimes longer than that to get back. Right.
Right. So now you're talking 24 hours later, you were back on track. And even with that, you still lost weight.
Yes.
So that's a beautiful, and this is a process. So your reactions, your go-to behavior when you are feeling anxiety and sadness is another layer of this process that will come. You will learn to make different choices. But for right now, the key is that you made your choice, but the next day you went back to this choice because you have a bigger plan for yourself.
Yeah,
and that's a beautiful thing.
I didn't
judge
myself for it.
No, it's not.
I didn't feel guilty because I didn't beat myself up, and I was able to just move past it. Kind of like when you're trying to meditate and the thoughts keeps coming into your head, and the gurus tell you not to try and push them away because then you're giving them power.
Right.
To just look at them, allow yourself to see them as they float past and wish them on their way. I feel like that's what I did with my binge day. I just let it happen. Chose to allow it to happen, but didn't live in it. Didn't just let it go and just moved on without it the next day, which was just really
thrilled
awesome.
For you. Yeah, I think that's a awesome. huge change. And I know we have to wrap up soon, so I'm just wondering what's coming up for you in the next week that is a concern or you would like some help around before your NutriBullet arrives, because then we'll have that excitement.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that's going to come in the next week, because I am looking forward to experimenting.
You'll be spending a lot of time in the produce aisle when you're shopping for that. Let me tell you, yes.
Very good, very good. No, I'm pretty well back on track with healthier work hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I have managed to actually practice doing my night shift and not staying up all night.
Great.
Great. And
yeah. So how is your sleep? Because we talked about you trying to get to bed at a decent hour, like 3 nights a week. Yeah. Have that work out.
Yeah, it's working. It's working.
Good.
Yep. And I'm making far more of a conscious effort that when I'm not working to be spending time with hubby. Good. Like even if it's just sitting with him while he's working on something.
That's great. And that's one of the things you talked about you wanted to improve as well, is your relationship. So are you seeing the improvement there already?
Yes, absolutely. I asked him the other day, have you noticed that I've been making an effort? And he said, yes, thank you.
Oh,
yes.
Good. That's really sweet.
And I landed 6 new clients in the last 10 days.
Wow!
Yeah. So,
good for you.
Yeah, all the good stuff I'm doing has got to be generating some energy. And
good. All right, well then I would say you need to just stay focused on your self-care and don't get wrapped up too much in
6 new clients.
Exactly. Because that's exciting, but you need the energy to follow through. So, absolutely. So you've made it to the park, which is, I'm just so amazed. Do you have another destination point as a goal, or
I think I'm going to
explore right now?
I think I'm actually going to just very tentatively and very small amounts at a time. I'm going to explore these trails that I found over there.
Is that something Ernest could go do with you?
Maybe that's an idea. Yeah, maybe that's an idea. Okay. Yeah.
How about that? How about we put that on the calendar for sometime in the next week? That the two of you go explore that together, which will also start the process of the two of you walking around the block together.
That's a good point. Yep.
Because you've been walking by yourself, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think it's time to get Ernest in the loop.
Okay. Sounds good. I will talk to him about that.
That's your homework.
Good. Will do. Okay, thanks, Dawn.
You're welcome.
And that's a wrap. And this was another episode of Weight Loss for Wellness with Trish Robichaud and Dawn Silverstein at MS Relief on Choose Joy TV, Weight Loss for Wellness. And we'll see you again next week. Thanks for joining us.